Hello, my name is Matthew Galluzzo, and I am a criminal defense attorney in New York City. I've been a criminal defense attorney for about 15 years. I've been an attorney for about 23. Prior to being a defense attorney, I was a Manhattan prosecutor. Now, I represent people in all sorts of cases, but one type of case that I handle quite frequently is a federal narcotics case or a federal narcotics conspiracy case. And that's the purpose of this video, is to explain some of the very basics in case you or a loved one are facing such a charge. Now, if you're interested in having me represent yourself or your family member, I am in New York City. I represent people most often in the southern or the eastern districts of New York, those federal courts. I'm also in the White Plains Federal Court quite a bit, as well as in the Connecticut Federal Court and the New Jersey Federal Courts. Outside of that, it would depend, but those are my most frequent courts that I go to. Now, if you or a loved one have been charged with a federal narcotics case, you're looking at a very serious situation. And it's going to depend very much upon a number of factors. But first, you need to look at what charge this person is charged with. Now, typically what they're going to be charged with is a violation of 21 U.S.C. 841. And there are three main types of charges under that chapter of that code. There's B1A, B1B, and B1C under 841. Now, each of those charges corresponds to the quantity of narcotics that are possessed or distributed, or that the conspiracy has conspired to possess or distribute. And I'm going to get to that in a second. Now, if you're charged with a B1A, that, for example, would involve more than 1 kilogram of heroin or more than 5 kilograms of cocaine. If you're charged with those crimes, then your mandatory minimum sentence is 10 years in prison, up to a maximum sentence of life. This is the most serious of the narcotics charges in the federal code. The second most serious one is B1B. That would obviously involve a lesser amount of narcotics being trafficked. That has a mandatory minimum of 5 years and a maximum of 40 years. And then the least serious of these three is B1C. That has no mandatory minimum whatsoever and a maximum possible sentence of 20 years in prison. So another thing you're probably going to be charged with in these cases is a violation of 846 in addition to 841. Now, this 846 applies to conspiracies to traffic or distribute narcotics. And this is when you have more than one person who's agreeing to participate in some plan to possess, manufacture, or distribute narcotics. Most federal cases involving narcotics involve conspiracies, involve more than one person. Now, a lot of people who get arrested or charged with this crime in federal court have some experience with the state system already. Maybe they've already even done time in a state system for a similar charge. But narcotics cases in the federal system are a little bit different than perhaps what those people are used to. You'll find that in the federal system, there tend to be bigger cases that have been investigated over longer periods of time. Sometimes it's the FBI, it's the DEA, it's the Homeland Security, but oftentimes these cases come as a result of months, if not years, of investigation by agents. Also, there frequently are cooperators involved, or confidential informants that have been providing information about the people who are being charged and arrested prior to their arrest. In addition, you'll see that when you go to court for the first time, bail is probably going to be more difficult to get in a federal case for narcotics than it is in a state case. There are a lot of presumptions in federal court that work against defendants charged with these crimes in federal court. And these penalties obviously can be quite serious as well. The penalties that I just listed actually can even be worse in cases where somebody gets hurt as a result of the trafficking of the narcotics. I've represented several people who have been accused of trafficking narcotics that resulted in overdoses, and that can change the penalties very much. It can make the mandatory minimum as much as 20 or 30, depending on some of the circumstances. So you're going to see that the federal cases are handled differently. An awful lot of it comes down to plea bargaining. Most federal defendants do not want to go to trial for a variety of reasons. And if you want to learn more about the federal sentencing guidelines, you should check out my other video on that subject. But that's a big part of what a federal criminal defense attorney will do in a narcotics case, is try and demonstrate that a person's responsibility is not as expansive, perhaps, as the prosecutors are making it out to be, or that they deserve a plea bargain for a charge that does not have one of these mandatory minimum sentences of 10 or 5, and try to get them down closer to 0. So a lot of advocacy is necessary in these types of cases to get the best result for the client. And if you or a loved one have been charged with such a crime, please give me a call and we can discuss your case and see if I'm the right fit for you. Thank you.